I went to visit my good brother at his home, but to my surprise, his mother turned out to be the lover from my previous life. When he saw my face, he was just as calm, because my appearance was exactly the same as the lover he had longed for over countless years. Our strange reactions immediately aroused my good brother's displeasure. Let me tell you, Fang Yuan, if you dare have any ideas about my mom, I definitely won't let you off. Just as I was about to hurriedly explain, Shen Shui spoke up first. Xiao Xia, go back to your room. I have something I want to discuss with Fang Yuan. Shen Shui took a small photo frame from the bookshelf behind her and handed it to me. I was stunned after just one glance. The person in the photo frame looked exactly like me in every way except for the clothes. At the same time, there seemed to be a trace of sadness and longing in Shen Shui's eyes. The person in the photo is Auntie, a very close friend of mine. She had the same name as you, Fang Yuan. 18 years ago, my friend was also 18. When I first saw you, for a moment I thought she had really come back. Seeing the sorrow in her eyes, it wasn't hard for me to guess the relationship between the two. Shen Shu seemed to see through my thoughts and nodded slightly. You two really look too much alike. But she had a small blue mole on her arm. I've heard people say that's the mark of a soul. I couldn't help but be shocked again. I immediately rolled up my sleeve, revealing the blue veins on my right arm. Shen Shu suddenly grabbed my arm. It's right here. Even the size and shape are exactly the same. As she spoke, her hand holding my arm was faintly trembling. Was her deceased lover really coming back to find her? Fang Yuan, is it really you who has come back? At that moment, I couldn't help but feel a bit awkward. If my good buddy saw this ambiguous scene, I might really be in trouble. In a daze, Shen Shui seemed to have returned to 18 years ago, and couldn't help but reach out to gently caress her lover's face. I felt as if I had been electrified, her warm, soft hand gently brushing across my face. After a moment, Shen Shui quickly realized her lapse and hurriedly withdrew her hand, tucking a strand of hair behind her forehead. I also tried to calm my heart, which had almost leapt out of my chest. Auntie, actually, what I'm about to say, you might not believe, but I promise it's all true. Fang Yuan, don't keep Auntie guessing. Hurry up and tell me. Now that she had regained her composure, when she looked at me, there was already a trace of her lover in her eyes. Ever since I can remember, I've often dreamed of a young beautiful girl, about 17 or 18 years old, wearing a white dress with black polka dots. She looked exactly like you, Auntie. Shen Shu was suddenly startled and immediately handed me another photo. I was completely shocked. Auntie, is this you when you were young? The girl in my dreams looks exactly like this. Hearing what I said, Shen Shu was stunned. After a moment, she forced herself to regain her composure. She knew very well that the boy in front of her was only 18 years old, the same age as her daughter. Yet, everything they were saying to each other seemed to point to one truth. The boy standing before her was very likely her lover from a previous life. Now, both of us had the same suspicion in our hearts, but neither of us dared to say it out loud. Maybe we were really good friends in a past life. Shen Shui stared intently into my eyes, but the spring breeze stirring in her heart could no longer be stopped. The way she looked at me carried an indescribable emotion. As I met Shen Shu's unwavering gaze, I felt my face grow warm. Auntie's eyes were unexpectedly captivating. She stared at me without the slightest attempt to hide it, even with a hint of inexplicable dominance. Fang Yuan, this is Auntie's good friend. Add her, and from now on, we'll all be good friends. Right? With a crisp voice, I saw Shen Shu's online name, the lover who can't be waited for. In that instant, a wave of sadness washed over my heart. Fang Yuan, let's not tell Xiao Xi about what we talked about today for now, okay? Let's just keep it as our little secret. Okay, Auntie. Feeling Shen Shui's slightly heated gaze on me, my head quickly started to feel a bit dizzy. At this moment, Shen Shu was even convinced that the boy in front of her was the reincarnation of her former lover, even though such a thing sounded rather absurd. But everything in front of her left her no choice but to believe it. She and her former lover, Fang Yuan, had been childhood sweethearts, and later they were both admitted to Zhongchen University. One day, while the two of them were out shopping, a runaway dump truck suddenly barreled toward them. In that critical moment, Fang Yuan abruptly pushed Shen Shui aside, but he himself didn't have time to dodge and was caught under the wheels. Ever since then, Shen Shui had closed off her heart, never accepting any other man, all the way until now. That heart, frozen for 18 years, suddenly felt the stirrings of spring. Before long, the two of them finished their boxed meals in a slightly awkward atmosphere. Fang Yuan, have some more tea. I'll go check out the alley. Looking at Shen Shu's rosy cheeks, I couldn't calm the excitement in my heart. I could clearly sense that Shen Shu's attitude toward me was not what an ordinary friend would have. At this moment, in Shen Xiao's room, she was wearing headphones, completely absorbed in her game. As the door opened, Shen Xiao's fingers moved, and the screen instantly switched to the desktop. Silly girl, as long as you finished your homework, you can play games as much as you want. Mom doesn't restrict you anyway. As Shen Shui spoke, she sat down on the chair next to her. Shen Shui smiled and reached out to gently stroke her daughter's short hair. If my daughter grew her hair out, she'd definitely be especially beautiful. Mom, I still feel more comfortable like this, but if you keep it this way, you might miss out on boys who like you. Shen Shui looked at her daughter with a gentle smile, as if she was hoping for some kind of answer. Mom, what are you talking about? Shen Xia was startled when she heard this, her eyes wide open. Don't play dumb with me. You've never brought a boy home before. Fang Yuan is the first. Do you really think your mom is blind? Oh Mom, you've really got it wrong. Not only have I never brought a boy home before, I've never brought a girl home either. Fang Yuan and I are really just buddies. We've never had any romantic feelings for each other at all. Wait, did Fang Yuan tell you she likes me? No way. I have to go clear this up with her. As Shen Xia spoke, she suddenly turned and started heading for the door. Shen Xu quickly grabbed her daughter's arm. Silly girl, I was just trying to get you to talk. Why are you so worked up? What I meant was, Fang Yuan is a pretty good kid, and she's also the child of my good friend. I really don't have any feelings for him like that. Please, I'm begging you, just let me off the hook. Alright, Mom gets it. Shen Shui stroked her daughter's hair and let out a long quiet sigh of relief. That's just as well. Mom, if you really think Fang Yuan is so great, why don't you make him your godson? That way, I'd have another big brother. Stop messing around. Go on, have fun, I'm heading out. Oh right Xia, from now on Feng Yuan will also be living with us. After all, he's my good friend's child. Sure Mom, of course that's fine. That way the two of us can play games together. Shen Shou couldn't help but smile and shake her head, then left her daughter's room. Feng Yuan, from now on you'll live here with Auntie, alright? You and Xia can go to and from school together. How does that sound? Auntie, is that really okay? Seeing the passion in Shen Shui's eyes, I felt my mind drifting, my whole body as if it were being roasted. Shen Shui gently came over to my side and placed her hand on my shoulder. Aren't you Auntie's good friend? Of course I am, I replied with an awkward smile. Not to mention the connection I had with Shen Shui in my previous life. Even just facing such a mature and beautiful older sister, I would agree without hesitation. Then stay here. Anyway, there are plenty of rooms at home. You can stay in the guest bedroom next to mine. Okay, Auntie. Naturally, I had no hesitation at all, though I was a little worried about how I'd get along with Shenxia from now on. Come on, Feng Yuan, come with Auntie and take a look at your room. This room was originally prepared for Shenxia, but that girl didn't like the layout, so now it's just right for you to live in it from now on. Thank you, Auntie. Looking at the fully furnished room, I nodded slightly. I was well aware of Shui's feelings for me. Perhaps she already saw me as her former lover. Actually, I no longer want to call her Auntie. Former lovers reunited after all these years, 7 with an 18-year age gap. It really doesn't feel right to keep calling her that. It's just that my feelings aren't as intense as Shui's. For me, it's only a few dreams. I don't have the deep childhood affection from her memories, nor her 18 years of longing. Feng Yuan, from now on, when it's just the two of us, don't call me Auntie anymore, okay? Do you understand what I mean? Shui placed her hand on the outside of my arm, her eyes fixed on me, a certain indescribable passion burning in her gaze. Her cheeks were also tinged with a faint blush. She was becoming more and more convinced that the 18-year-old boy in front of her was indeed her former lover. Then, when it's just the two of us, I'll call you sister. Alright. Shui looked at Feng Yuan, who looked exactly the same as he had 18 years ago, and an indescribable affection naturally shone in her eyes.
The times had changed now. She was already 36, while the person before her was just an 18-year-old young man, and he was still as handsome as ever. This made the heart of a woman whose feelings had been frozen for 18 years erupt like a volcano. If it weren't for the extraordinary self-control she had developed over the years, she might have already thrown herself into Feng Yuan's arms. Wait here a moment, I'll go get a pair of Xiaoxia slippers and pajamas for you.
Tomorrow, I'll buy you a new set, she said, gently touching her slightly warm cheek before leaving the room. I thought to myself, right, all of Shenxia's clothes are men's, so the pajamas must be men's as well. Before long, Shui returned with a set of men's pajamas and held them up against me to check the fit. As I breathed in the alluring scent that lingered on her, I couldn't help but feel dazed again. In all my years, I'd never had someone of the opposite sex get this close to me, especially not a mature, stunning older woman who was looking at me with such deep affection. Go take a shower. There's a bathroom outside, and there's also one in my room. You can use either one, Shui said, patting my arm. Suddenly, a hint of shyness appeared in her eyes. In her 18 years, this was the first time she had ever been this close to a boy, although she understood deep down that maybe she was just like an older sister, and I simply wanted to pursue her. Shui couldn't be bothered with all that. 18 years of longing had left her unwilling to overthink things. So what if an older woman is interested in a younger man? After all, he was clearly the one she loved most. At worst, it would just be like falling in love with him all over again. Shui placed the pajamas in my hands. I nodded silently, looking at this mature and beautiful older sister in front of me. Being so warm and welcoming, I couldn't help but feel a stirring inside. But in my mind, I kept recalling what Shenxia had said. I see you as a buddy, but you want to act like my dad. Go take a shower, there's plenty of time ahead. Sis will treat you well in the future, so you're not allowed to refuse me. After Shui finished speaking, a blush instantly appeared on her cheeks. She gave a shy smile, then turned and left the room. I couldn't help but secretly feel amused. Who in their right mind would refuse such a wonderful older sister? Holding the pajamas, I walked out of the room. I was about to head to the bathroom outside to take a shower when suddenly, bro, you want a shower? Let me go first. I can't hold it anymore. Just as I stepped out of the room, I saw Shenxia rushing out of her room, clutching her stomach. Alright, you go first and use the toilet. Bro, there's also a bathroom in my mom's room, you can use that one too. After saying this, Shenxia had already dashed into the outside bathroom. Looks like I could only go to Shui's room to shower. I walked up to her door and knocked lightly twice. A moment later, the door opened, and Shu had changed from her professional attire into pajamas. Her long hair, which had been tied up, was now let down, giving off a strong sense of homely warmth. Feng Yuan, do you want to take a shower? Come in. As I walked into the bedroom, the whole room was filled with her enchanting fragrance. The room was very tidy and cozy. Come on, Feng Yuan, go take a shower first. Just leave your clothes here afterward, and I'll wash them for you, she said. Looking into Shui's affectionate eyes, I nodded. Suppressing the excitement in my heart, I carefully savored the special care Shui was showing me. With that, I went into the bathroom and closed the door. I patted my wildly beating heart, trying to calm myself down a little. Boys usually shower quickly, and it only took me a little over 10 minutes to wash from head to toe. After I changed into the spare pajamas and walked out of the bathroom, she called, Feng Yuan, come here, let me dry your hair for you. Shui was holding a hairdryer, watching me with great interest. I smiled and nodded, quietly sitting down on the chair, and letting Shui sit close to me as she dried my hair. The noise of the hairdryer mixed with Shui's fresh scent made me feel excited all over again. I glanced over, and saw that the door was closed, so I reached out and wrapped my arm around Shui's slender waist. With a soft gasp, she stiffened slightly, then turned off the hairdryer and hugged my head, nestling into my arms. She then pressed her face against my hair, carefully feeling my warmth. For a moment, it seemed as if the whole world had gone quiet, with only the sound of our rapid breathing filling the air. I don't know how much time passed before Shui suddenly stepped back, shoved the hairdryer into my hand, and quickly walked into the bathroom. Just then, a few crisp knocks sounded on the door, and Shenxia barged right in. Feng Yuan, you're even slower than a girl. I've already finished showering and you're still not done? Come on, let's get back to the game. With that, Shenxia reached out and pulled me by the arm. Alright, let's go play games with you. I couldn't help but secretly admire Shui's quick thinking if she hadn't reacted so fast. And Shenxia had walked in on that scene just now. Things could have gotten really awkward. Shenxia dragged me by the arm into her room. Come on, be my teammate. I'm a bit curious, though what exactly is the relationship between your dad and my mom? Shenxia asked, unable to hold back her curiosity as she played her game. Don't overthink it, they're just good friends. What else could there be? I scratched my head a little awkwardly. Well, I don't really buy it. If you and my mom looked more alike, I'd probably start calling you my brother. But let's not go that far. Better just call him uncle. That sounds more comfortable. It'd make more sense for you to call me uncle. You're not harboring any thoughts about my mom, are you? What are you talking about? Your mom and my dad really are just good friends. Yeah, I guess I was overthinking it, but it does seem like my mom cares about you a lot. So I was just thinking, maybe there's something unusual about their relationship. Unusual? What's so unusual? Can't people just have good friends? That's true. By the way, you don't have any thoughts about me, do you? Yesterday, when my mom asked me that, it gave me a real shock. Come on, are you serious? I couldn't help but be startled. What are you even talking about? Based on seniority, you should at least call me uncle. That's only proper. How could I possibly have any thoughts about you? That's what I'm saying, we're best buddies. How could there be any of that messy stuff between us? By the way, bro, I think that girl from the class next door is pretty cute. I was a bit taken aback. Seriously? This guy actually likes a girl? Why are you suddenly talking about this? Yeah, what do you think of her? She's a bit skinny, but I think she's really sweet. So, you like her? I remember it clearly. Shenxia has whistled at that girl at least twice. That girl is pretty quiet and introverted. She got so scared she ran off trembling. Yeah, don't you like girls like that? That obedient look. It just makes you want to protect her. But if you like her too, we can compete for her. Shenxia patted me on the shoulder nonchalantly. I risked internal injury from holding back my laughter, barely managing not to burst out. Protecting a girl like that is a man's job. You're a tomboy. How are you going to make her happy? Why don't you let me have her? I won't compete with you. Are you really not going to compete with me? Fine, then I'll get ready to start pursuing her soon. Just don't be jealous of me when the time comes. Okay, no way. I'm going to start pursuing her tomorrow. By the way, what do you think I should do when I start chasing a girl? Should I give her flowers? I patted Shenxia on the shoulder. When you're chasing a girl, you have to create opportunities to run into her first, right? Like on the road, in the cafeteria, or in the library. You need to be funny and gentlemanly. Don't just go up and whistle at her. You've already scared her off twice doing that. So that's how it is. Shenxia suddenly slapped her own forehead, looking full of regret. It's fine. Just apologize to her next time. Besides, with your looks, if your background was a bit better, you'd definitely be able to win her over. Really. Hearing this, Shenxia couldn't help but break into a joyful smile. Even getting so happy she started waving her hands and feet around. But as I looked Shenxia up and down, I felt a bit troubled. Shenxia immediately understood what I was worried about from my expression. Haven't you ever heard the saying, you always thought you liked men, but actually, that's just because you haven't met the woman you truly like yet. I couldn't help but nod when you put it that way. It actually makes some sense, right? Look at me. Do I look like a woman at all? As Shenxia spoke, she patted her chest. Honestly, just from appearances, it really is hard to tell she's a girl. Back then, the two of us actually became friends after a fight. Back when we first started college, I had no idea at all that Shenxia was actually a girl. That day, I saw Shenxia heading straight for the women's restroom, so I immediately called out to stop her, thinking she was a pervert or something. The two of us almost got into a fight right then and there. Shenxia was so angry she nearly stripped in public. In the end though, she just took out her ID and showed it to me. I was so embarrassed at the time, but after that, we actually became the best of buddies. While we were chatting away, Shenxia walked in with a smile on her face and asked, "What are you two guys talking about?" Seeing how happy you two are chatting, we were just talking about studying. Oh right mom, Fang Yuan and I are going to the library to read tomorrow. As Shenxia said this, she winked at me, but before I could say anything, Shen Shui spoke up with her own plan. Tomorrow, I'm planning to take Fang Yuan shopping for some clothes. Shen Xiao couldn't help but feel secretly pleased. Great, that way this guy won't be competing with me. If that girl ends up liking Fang Yuan, then Shenxia would really be at a loss. No problem, you two go shopping then. I'll just go to the library by myself. I'm starting to find studying way more interesting than playing games. The silly girl looked at her daughter's deliberately mysterious expression. Shen Shui couldn't help but laugh. Be honest, have you taken a liking to some boy? How could I possibly like a boy? I just genuinely enjoy studying, okay? Besides, if I really like boys, wouldn't I just go after Fang Yuan directly and be done with it? For a moment, Shen Shu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She raised her hand, wanting to smack this silly girl. How can you say things like that? What do you mean, just go after Fang Yuan? Fang Yuan isn't someone you can just go after, as you please. Silly girl, don't tell me you've fallen for a girl instead. I'm telling you now, mom doesn't approve. Mom, I'm a girl myself. Why would I like another girl? As Shenxia spoke, a hint of embarrassment flickered in her eyes. Auntie, Shenxia really has been getting more and more into her studies lately. She pays such close attention in class now. Seeing this, I quickly tried to smooth things over. After all, one side is my partner, the other is my buddy, so I had to make sure things stayed balanced. Is that so? Alright then, go study hard at the library, but if you really do like some boy, don't keep it from your mom. You're already a college student now, mom won't stop you from dating. Got it mom? Shenxia quickly nodded. Anyway, whatever mom says goes. Then just listen, that's all boy or no boy. Shenxia really isn't interested. She's still that sweet, well-behaved girl, and that's what's adorable about her. Alright, you two go play your game, but don't stay up too late, okay? I have to go to the office early tomorrow, so I can only take Fang Yuan shopping for clothes at noon. Fang Yuan, how about coming to the office with Auntie tomorrow? I used to ask Xiao Xia to go, but she never wanted to. Sure Auntie, no problem. I nodded without hesitation. Go? What would you even do there? It's so boring. Shenxia couldn't help but twitch her lips, looking completely uninterested. Mom just wants to nurture you, you know. The company is so big, don't you want to help your mom out? Shen Shui affectionately patted Shenxia's hair and let out a slight sigh. By the way, mom, why don't you make Fang Yuan your godson? She's way more ambitious than I am. Plus, at least you'd have another child to be filial to you, right? Anyway, Fang Yuan and I are best buddies, so I wouldn't mind calling her brother in the future. Silly girl, stop joking around. What Shen Shu said next made both of us burst out laughing. You silly girl, what are you even talking about? Fang Yuan is the child of my good friend. There's really no difference from my own. Why would I need to make her my godson? Alright, it's getting late. None of us can sleep in tomorrow then if we're just going to the library to study. It's better to get there early. Shen Shui glanced at the two of them, then turned to leave. Alright buddy, I'm heading back to rest. Tomorrow I'll go to the company with Auntie to have a look so I can't get up late. You should get some rest early too. Okay, I'll go to bed early as well. I need to get to the library early tomorrow, Shenxia said, winking at me with a big grin. At this moment she only trusted Fang Yuan. Even her own mom didn't get to see this side of her. Watching Shenxia's mischievous smile, I couldn't help but twitch my lips as I reached the door. Shen Shu looked at me, her eyes flickering slightly. She really wanted to give Fang Yuan a heartfelt hug and say goodnight, but after glancing back at Shenxia's bedroom door, she suppressed the urge in her heart. You should get some rest early too, sis. Seeing Shenxia hesitate to speak, I naturally understood what she meant, but this wasn't the right time or place to express anything, so I simply picked up my phone and gave it a little wave. Shen Shui smiled and nodded, then turned and went into her own room. I took off my shoes and leaned against the headboard, then picked up my phone and tapped on Shen Shu's profile picture. It was a towering iceberg. Just looking at it made you feel a chill. She's the president of a large company, so she must be exceptionally capable. She's been single for so many years, she must be the legendary ice queen. Her username was the lover I can't wait for, which made it seem like her heart had been frozen for many years. Suddenly, Shen Shu's profile picture changed. The original iceberg image was suddenly replaced by a lush green meadow, filled with flowers and grass, with butterflies fluttering gracefully. Just looking at it made you feel full of vitality, and completely refreshed. Ding dong. Shen Shui sent me a message. Fang Yuan. Sis isn't really ready to sleep yet. Can you chat with me for a while? Sure sis, I'll come over and keep you company. I couldn't help but smile and joked with her. Alright, if you really dare, then come over. If you're going to joke, you have to go all the way. I got up, opened the door, and walked out, but I headed toward the bathroom outside instead. Don't take a joke from sis too seriously. Looking at my phone, I couldn't help but twitch my lips so she does get scared. This big sister is actually pretty interesting. Just now, when I was in her room drying her hair, the feeling of her resting her head in my arms was really nice. It felt as if I'd suddenly gone back to my childhood. But Shenshu had worried for nothing. I obviously wasn't really going to go over. After I came back from the bathroom, I lay back down on the bed. Sis, why won't you open the door for me? You're not actually waiting at my door, are you? Shenshu was startled, but after thinking it over for a moment, she felt that Fang Yuan probably did want to come over. In fact, Shenshui herself rather wanted her to come, but now wasn't a good time if Shenxia happened to see. That would really be bad. After replying to her message, she quietly got out of bed and listened at her own door for a while. Then she gently opened the door, cracked, no one there. Alright, she'd been tricked by her again. Shenshu couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh softly. What a familiar scene this was. 18 years ago, the two of them had once stayed together at Fang Yuan's house, and something almost identical had happened while they were chatting by text. Back then, Fang Yuan had deliberately scared Shenshui, making her anxious and on edge. Now history was repeating itself, and she'd been fooled by her once more. After a moment, as Shenxi laughed, her eyes couldn't help but well up with sparkling tears. Fang Yuan, do you know, 18 years ago, when I went to your house to play, that night was just like this. Shenshui smiled as she cried, letting the tears blur her vision. Sister, I really wish I could tell my past self to take a good rest. Tomorrow, come to the company with me. From now on, you'll be my part-time personal secretary. I couldn't help but be a little stunned. What exactly does a personal secretary do? How personal is it? Does it mean following her everywhere all the time? Even during meals and sleep, do I have to stick close? Thinking about it, it actually sounds kind of interesting. The next morning, just as I sat up in bed, I heard someone hurriedly leaving the house outside. Was it my sister going out? That shouldn't be. Those hurried footsteps must be Shenxiash is always so energetic when she walks. Still in my pajamas, I walked out of the room. Morning, Feng Yuan. Shenshui came out of the kitchen, carrying 2 glasses of milk and placing them on the dining table. Shenxi has already gone out. Go wash up quickly. I've already prepared a toothbrush and toothpaste for you in the bathroom outside. Alright sis, so it really was Shenxia who left. He really goes all out when it comes to chasing girls. After getting myself ready, I went to the dining room. Shenshu was quietly waiting there for me. Fang Yuan, eat. Shenshui looked at me gently, her eyes filled with an indescribable sweetness. As she spoke, she picked up her chopsticks and handed them to me, even taking the opportunity to gently touch my hand. She knew very well that Fang Yuan was only 18, but in her heart Shenshu truly saw her as her lover. 18 is fine, after all. As long as he doesn't mind me, I'll never leave him for the rest of my life. Even if he does mind, I'll still treat him well forever. Thank you, sis. You're so good to me. Ever since I woke up, I've still been pretty excited inside. Although it's not as intense as last night, I'm still a bit absent-minded. Does little brother like it? Looking at Fang Yuan's handsome and incredibly familiar face, Shenshu was actually even more excited than Fang Yuan, but her self-control, honed over the years, made her appear much calmer. Of course I like it. Sis, you're so beautiful and gentle. You don't mind that I'm older? Not at all. I thought about it. Honestly, throughout my entire adolescence up to now, I've never had feelings for any other girl. The main reason is that the divine blood in my dreams has occupied my whole adolescence. You could even say, the image of my ideal girlfriend has suddenly appeared before me. How could I not like her? Even though the Shenshu in my dreams was only 18, I seem to like her mature and stunning side even more. Why is that? As Shen Sui ate breakfast, she watched me with great interest. You've been in my dreams for so many years. The one I like is you. No matter if you're older or younger, I like you all the same. Suddenly, Shen Shui felt as if her throat was blocked. Seeing the tears rolling down from her reddened eyes, I couldn't help but pick up a tissue to wipe them away for her. Shen Shui gently held my hand and slowly placed it on her cheek. Hearing Shen Shu's gentle, trembling voice, I pulled her into my arms. She had waited for me all these years. It must have been so hard for her. After so many years of longing, she really needed a good cathartic cry. But after a little while, Shen Shu stopped crying. There was still some work to take care of today, so she decided to leave the tears here for now. Hearing what Shen Shui said, I almost couldn't help but laugh. You know, Fang Yuan, she said. As I was crying, I suddenly felt like I really wanted to laugh with happiness. I never expected you would actually come back to find me. Honestly, I'm really happy right now. As she spoke, she loosened her embrace, reached out to gently touch my face, and tilted her tear-streaked yet smiling face up to carefully look at her long-lost lover. I really hadn't changed at all. I was still exactly as she remembered me. Shen Shu couldn't contain her excitement. She wrapped her arms tightly around my waist again and buried her head in my chest. Don't worry, sis, I said. Now that I'm back, I'll definitely treat you well. I held Shen Shu tightly, my heart filled with emotion. Our reunion and perseverance felt just like a fairy tale. Even though I still haven't regained my memories from the past, everything in front of me makes it impossible not to believe. The mature and beautiful woman in my arms was my childhood sweetheart and lover from my previous life. I'll take good care of you too, she said. Just don't dislike me for being older or find me annoying, okay? But that was simply impossible. If love can last, who cares if one is 18 years older or younger? With such a stunning and mature lover, I could hardly be happier. Alright, from now on you're mine, she said. Hurry up and finish eating, then change clothes and come with me. Shen Shui wiped away her tears and I smiled and nodded. Being with just one person is being with just one person. Besides, I'm not someone who is fickle in love. A beautiful woman by your side is enough to make life satisfying. In my previous life, we were the closest of lovers, so I believe our relationship will only deepen from here on out. Once everything was packed up, Shen Shui took me out of the house. Can you drive? From now on, when you're with me, you'll be responsible for driving, okay? You have to take good care of me, she said with a smile, taking a car key out of her small bag and handing it to me. What kind of car do you like? I'll have someone bring it over for you. I'm still in school, so I actually don't have much need for a car. I couldn't help but smile. Being with this big sister really felt great. Why did it suddenly feel like she was ready to keep me? Not only was I moving into her big house, but now she wanted to buy me a car too. How about this? In the future, you and Xiaoxia can use the car to go to and from school, okay? That could work. But before, how did you? Why didn't you buy a car for Shenxia before? She's complained to me about it several times. That silly girl. The only reason I didn't buy her a car was for her own good. She's always so reckless and never settles down. I'm worried it wouldn't be safe for her to drive. But now that you'll be around, Fang Yuan, I can rest easy. Just tell me what kind of car you want today. Shen Shui decided on the spot before I could even respond. Feeling the aura of authority that broke no refusal, I nodded. Fang Yuan, will you listen to your big sister from now on? Let me take good care of you. We've been apart for too long, and now all I want is for you to be happy every single day. The two of us got into the car. Shen Shui sat in the passenger seat, gazing deeply into my eyes. There was an indescribable affection in her gentle gaze, yet within that affection was an undeniable sense of authority. Looking into her eyes, so full of emotion, I couldn't help but feel moved. As the engine hummed softly, I drove Shen Shui toward the company. Is this car easy to drive? If you like it, you can use this one, she said. Sis, it's too flashy for a student to drive this kind of car. I don't like it. Shen Shui looked at me and couldn't help but laugh, nodding slightly. You're right, she said. Although she was my lover, I was still a student for now, so it would be better to get a more low-key car. Sis, what kind of car does Shen Shui like? Him? He likes that domestic Xiaomi 47. Alright then, let's buy that car. It just so happens that I really like it too. I thought about it and realized this was the perfect solution. At least Shen Xia wouldn't overthink things. After all, Shen Xia is her daughter. Fang Yuan, you're still the same as before, always thinking too much about others. If you hadn't pushed me out of the way that day, you wouldn't have gotten hurt. Suddenly, my mind was filled with a roaring noise. I quickly slammed on the brakes and brought the car to an emergency stop by the side of the road. My hazy memories gradually became clearer, as if I was recalling a dream. It also felt as if I had experienced it myself. A dump truck came roaring toward us, and at the critical moment, I suddenly pushed Shen Shui out of the way. Then everything went black. What's wrong? Fang Yuan, startled, Shen Shui quickly asked. After a moment, I shook my head. The scene in my mind was now extremely clear. Fang Yuan, are you alright? Shen Shui looked at me with concern. I'm fine. As I looked at Shen Shui, an inexplicable, long-lost sense of familiarity welled up inside me. If before I only understood it in theory, now there was a trace of something that seemed to come from the depths of my sewer familiar theology. Perhaps sensing the change in my gaze, her eyes suddenly turned red. Could it be that Fang Yuan has remembered something? Alright, Xiao Shu, let's stop crying for today. You still have a meeting worth several hundred million to attend. I reached out and gently patted Shen Shui on the back. This beautiful woman in my arms has really suffered over the years. The clearer my memories became, the more my heart ached. Brother Fang Yuan, I heard Shen Shui's soft and shy voice, and couldn't help but be taken aback. Did she used to call me that? It sounds so nice, especially now that she's become a mature big sister. Hearing her call me that while crying makes my heart itch. Don't cry anymore, Xiao Shu. Okay, from now on let's both smile happily. Actually, I've only recovered a few memories, just a few seconds of images. Shen Shui straightened up. She pulled out a tissue to wipe away her tears. With a press on the gas pedal, the car started moving forward again. Under Shen Shui's directions, I soon drove to her workplace. Shen Shui Fashion Group, that name is kind of interesting. Fang Yuan, I'm going upstairs for a meeting first. After you park the car, just wait for me in the top floor office, okay? Go ahead and take care of things. Sister Xiao Shu. Shen Shui couldn't help but laugh. When there are other people around, keep calling me Auntie. Got it? Be good, little brother. I'm heading up now. I couldn't help but shake my head and smile. I originally thought she'd call me brother from now on, but this feels just a little bit off. In front of others, she wants me to call her auntie. Calling her sister in private, why does it feel a bit like we're secret lovers? After parking the car, I walked into Shen Shui Tower. Fortunately, Shen Shu had called ahead to the front desk. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to get in at all. When I took the elevator to the top floor, I couldn't help but be stunned. This company is really wealthy. The moment I walked through the doors, I was blown away by the luxurious and exquisite decor. Sir, who are you here to see? Before I could take a closer look, a young woman at the front desk stopped me. Hello, my name is Fang Yuan. President Chen asked me to wait for her in her office. So you're Mr. Fang Yuan. President Ren already informed me just now. Please follow me. The receptionist smiled as she welcomed me in. We walked down the corridor for over 20 meters, turned right at a corner, and arrived at Shen Shui's CEO office. Mr. Fang, please go in. If you need anything, feel free to come to the front desk and find me. I nodded, then entered Shen Shui's office. A faint, familiar fragrance greeted me. There was no mistaking it. This was clearly Shen Shui's scent. I walked over to her bookshelf to see what kinds of books she had. There were books on psychology, finance, as well as fashion magazines and model photo collections. I casually pulled out one of the model photo books. Then I sat down on the sofa, thinking to myself, models really do have great figures. Time ticked by slowly. Ding dong. I picked up my phone to check. It was a message from that kid Shen Xia. Fang Yuan, hey, I finally saw that well-behaved girl in the library. This guy, I couldn't help but chuckle. Right after that, Shen Xia sent me a photo. Not far away, separated by a few tables, that slim, gentle-looking girl was sitting with her head down, reading a book. It was obvious that Shen Xia had taken this photo secretly. Bro, hurry up and give me some tips. I'm asking for urgent help online. What should I do now? After seeing her, I suddenly got a bit nervous. Why are you nervous for no reason? Where's that manly confidence of yours? I couldn't help but twitch the corner of my mouth. I hadn't thought about pursuing her before, but now that I want to, I'm suddenly all anxious and worried. Come on, brother Fang Yuan, give me some advice. I replied, here's a tip for you. From the photo you just sent, I can see the seat next to her is still empty. Just walk over and sit down and say anything. Just sit there for a bit. You brought snacks today, right? Quietly offer her a pack, but make sure you do it sincerely, understand? If she refuses, just say it's to make up for scaring her before when you whistled at her or something. Apologize to her, and if she accepts it, then stay with her and chat for a while, and then ask for her contact information. Honestly, I have absolutely no experience with picking up girls. Everything I just said was made up on the spot. Anyway, the first step in pursuing a girl is to bravely go for it. As for whether it works or not, that depends on Shen Xia's actual results. If it works, then it means my advice was good. If it doesn't, then it's Shen Xia's lack of execution. After giving Shen Xia my advice, I went back to admiring the clothes on the model. These are all made from top quality fabrics. Just a single thread from them is probably worth more than all the clothes I'm wearing. Before I knew it, it was already noon. Click. The office door suddenly swung open. It turned out to be Shen Shui coming back. Fang Yuan, are you hungry? Normally, Shen Shui always looks cold and serious, but as soon as she saw me, a genuine smile instantly appeared on her face. I'm okay, but after seeing you, Xiao Shu, I'm not that hungry anymore. You're so annoying. Shen Shu couldn't help but giggle shyly at my words. Then she quickly walked over and sat down next to me, leaning her head on my shoulder. Good little brother, let me hear you call me sister. As she spoke, Shen Shui reached out and gently touched my face with one hand, while wrapping her other arm around my waist. What's wrong, sis? You seem a little tired. Yeah, I didn't get much sleep last night, and it's all because of you, my good little brother.